right, so in today's video, we're discussing the broker transparency rule. Broker transparency has been a really big thing in the trucking industry, especially since 2020 when the OOIDA, which is the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association, and the SBTC, the Small Business Trucking Coalition, these two groups represent small trucking companies in America, and they petitioned the FMCSA to have the rules changed as it pertains to broker transparency. They think that brokers are taking advantage of small trucking companies by not providing the transaction documents to these carriers after load is completed. So they want to make it so that automatically 48 hours after a load is completed, brokers have to provide the transaction documents. And they also want to make it so that brokers cannot go in and draw provisions in their contract and deny carriers the right to these documents. Now, finally, the FMCSA has published a date of new rulemaking around broker transparency. Unfortunately for small carriers and the OOIDA, this date has been set as October 31st, 2024. Now, that's almost 4 years after the petition was filed. And the OOIDA's president, Todd Spencer, has called BS on the continued delay. Now, of course, when you want the rules changed, it takes time. It does not happen overnight. And we know, as they say, the wheels of justice turn very slowly. You also have to take into consideration that big groups like the TIA, the Transportation Intermediaries Association, oppose these new regulations. They don't want to see these new regulations take effect because they think that it's overreach. And guess what? They are very powerful. The TIA is. They have lobbyists that lobby on their behalf. So it's not going to be something that happens overnight. I personally think that if this is something that you want to see, you have to have patience. You just have to wait it out. And I still don't think that it's going to go like small trucking companies and the OOIDA necessarily want it to go, because they are powerful, the TIA is, and they'll fight and fight and fight until they get it to where they'll still be able to skirt whatever regulation that happens. That's just how it rolls. I don't think that small companies will dictate to big companies how they do business. It just doesn't work that way in America. And let's just say that small trucking companies, the OOIDA and the SBTC, get exactly what they want. They get access to the transaction documents, and they make it so that brokers can't draw in these provisions that deny carriers the right to these documents. How is that really going to change things? If carriers see that brokers are being paid X amount of dollars in a particular lane, what is it that they're going to do? They're going to go in and say, hey, we're not going to move the load unless we get X. They can do that right now. They can say, hey, I'm not going to move the load unless I get X. But the problem is you have many other carriers out there that are willing to do what you're not willing to do. So I don't get it. I really don't get it myself. Maybe I'm missing something, but I just don't see how getting access to those transaction documents will be such a game changer. I really don't think it will, because these big companies, these big brokerages command a lot of shippers' freight. So when you have freight, you have the power. The power in this industry is, without a shadow of a doubt, having control of freight. And big brokerages have a lot of control over freight. That's just the bottom line. And I don't see having access to documents changing the dynamics of what we do on a day in and day out basis. Now, to me, just to me, and I've been wrong before, I could be wrong on this is a lot to do about nothing. Nothing will change, really, even if there are changes made to the regulation. The only thing that will happen is small trucking companies will be fighting against small freight brokerages. And the big companies, the big brokerages, will continue to do exactly what they've always done. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I certainly hope this information has been helpful. If you want to learn more about the freight broker business, I'll leave a free link in the description box. Is the link to my 5-video series. It's titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It gives you a look into the process, how the business works before you come into it. And for those of you who are on the brink, you're ready to get your business started, but you need access to a load board, I'm going to give you a chance to get free access for 1 month to TRUCKSTOP's load board. Just check the description box for the link to that free 1-month subscription. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. And as always, I'll see you at the top of the mountain because the bottom is much too crowded.